apologize to each and every one of you who come out here every single week, every single night, watch our show, because on Friday I said that I'd be live on Saturday, and I was not. I had every intention of doing a show on Saturday, but three things happened. Number one, I knew it was my anniversary, gave my wife a gift, knew it was coming. We were both busy. I was going out to football practice. She had to go to a wedding to do makeup. So I knew that I had my anniversary. And secondly, I knew that I had a busy day. But when LSU baseball got beat in Game 3 on Saturday, I was too pissed to come out here and talk. Not pissed about football, but more pissed about baseball, which we'll talk about here tonight. As they fall to 3-9 in the conference, not looking good for the Bayou Bengals and Jay Johnson's club in 2024. Can they ultimately, in what now is, got to be real with you, win or go home? It is a win or go home because, guys, listen, you lose 2 out of 3 here. Maybe you can go on a little run. Okay, but you're going to lose games. You still have Texas A&M. By the way, Mizzou just swept Florida this weekend. I am hovering a panic button, as they say. We'll touch on that here tonight. We will lead off, though, with some football. As we were out there on Saturday watching the entire practice. I'll give you probably my 5 keys or 5 things that I saw mainly. And my goodness, do we have to start off tonight talking about Kyron Lacy, because has the young man completely turned a corner and started going off? He's certainly done that in practice so far this spring. Also, we'll talk about some other things that we saw in practice, but mainly some of my things that I really like, things that really continue to worry me. It's Monday, so you know what it is. Carter Bryant joins us at 7:30. If we have time with him after that, we will talk a little bit about the national championship. John Calipari going to Arkansas. How about that move, right? Like, how about Cal going to Arkansas? Very, very interesting times. I think that they upgraded from Musselman. I think that Calipari, if he gets them to where he's getting them now, I think that they will take that as a win every year. Just being realistic. So, yeah, how about John Calipari? But maybe Kentucky's next coach is coaching tonight. And that being UConn. By the way, I gotta say this. I forgot. So I did not enter any bracket this year, other than one. My good buddy Bill King did a bracket. I entered. I haven't looked at it until today because I am in the top 3 and I need UConn to win tonight. And if I do have UConn winning tonight, I will tie for first. So your boy's been pretty good in the bracketology this year. Made a little money. I don't like telling people my bets or my picks. Maybe I should, because maybe people will start watching more if I gave some more bets. But yeah, got UConn winning tonight over Purdue. Those were the 2 teams that were in my final, by the way, was UConn and Purdue. So let's see. I don't know if Edie is going to have enough. Maybe he does, and they win it. It's going to be a fun one. All right, let's get rolling and get to it. Holden Lee says, Blake, this all I want to talk about. How about them Yankees? Yeah, so Volpe hit a bomb tonight, I saw, and had a Gold Glove play. I was on the show before. I wasn't able to really pay attention to it. I do have it on right here, but just was unable to get to it. So, yeah, Yankees rolling. Juan Soto. And yesterday, John Carlos Stanton with an absolute bomb. Grand salami. So, yeah, Paul's Hub. Martin says Cal to Arkansas is just a shinier version of Jimbo to A&M. It's going to end up horribly. It might. It might. Aaron Miller says that Nestor had 8 scoreless. That is, I did see that. Our friends over at Talking Yankees. I saw that before we came on the show. And says Stan had 2 more hits today. Yeah, he did. Nestor was dealing. I think Nestor, what didn't he have? Like he went 3 up, 3 down in the first 3 innings, if I'm not mistaken. David says you're lagging a little, bro. Are we lagging? Because on our end, it does not look like we are. David, you might have a bad connection, my man. Let me know if we're not lagging. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if we're not lagging. David, I think, buddy, it's got to be your service, bud. John Sibley Butler says LSU baseball will come out of the slump. I can't go there. Can't go there. Not right now. Not right now. I can't. Maybe if they went 2-3 against Tennessee, maybe we can have that debate, but I can't do it right now. I just can't do it. All right. Let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, share to your own social media pages. Every time you share, it helps the show grow. We greatly appreciate it every time that you do that. Don't forget to hit that like button as well. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you are listening to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends at BetOnline, J&J Exterminating, our good buddy Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty. Stay with us. I break down the things that I saw at football, little baseball, Carter, and then a national championship. We're jam-packed. Let's get to it. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. All right. Let's get to it. I got to bring these two up. Tyler Townsend says, from the 318, yes, tell us where you're listening to us from tonight. 318-225-95, wherever you're listening, put it inside the comment right now. But he says, maybe the eclipse has flipped the switch for LSU baseball. Yes. I saw a lot of the eclipse stuff today. Didn't even look up. Didn't really care. Too cloudy. I thought it was really cool, though. Thought it was really cool for those. It go, I think, what was it, Oklahoma or somewhere they were in, where something like it like was very sunny, and then all of a sudden dark, then crazy, man, crazy. By the way, I saw somebody sitting there, man. Leaving that alone. Philip Rose says, Blake, Updates on football recruiting. Heard that DK Moore might flip to Texas. I am not buying that. I think that at the current moment, which can change at any given moment, I think DK Moore's okay. I think he's all right. We'll see. But I'm not buying into the Texas stuff. Now, if his words start flipping and his actions are doing different than his words, I should say, I will, maybe I'll get concerned then. Speaking of football, let's get to it. So Saturday, we were out there for LSU's practice, and there were five big things that I took away from practice. We talked about this a little bit on Saturday. I kind of tweeted it out. I think the number one place that we have to start here tonight, it's got to be with Kyren Lacy. Without a shadow of a doubt, like not even an opinion, it's got to be LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy. We've talked about him a lot this offseason, but final team period, more of a scrimmage to a lot of extents with a lot of coaches on hand during the coaches clinic who were also at practice. But Kyren Lacy went off. They started off the drill doing a couple runs. They did a bootleg, which we're going to have to talk about in a minute, and actually we'll talk about that at number 2. They started off with a bootleg, hit Mason Taylor, then they had to go to a check down to Caleb Jackson. But these next 3 plays that we'll talk about that were ran by LSU offensively was the Kyren Lacy highlight film. The first pass by Nussmeier was into double coverage on a hitch route that Kyren Lacy dove for and made the catch. Absolutely ridiculous catch considering it was way, way far to his right. Nuss was under what I think he felt was a little bit of pressure, but he was not. Kyren Lacy dives for it, comes up with the reception, and they get a first down. The second one was an in route. So Kyren Lacy in a bunch formation. So they went under center and ironically looked a little bit in 12 personnel like what you would see with the Los Angeles Rams. You had 2 tight ends off the line of scrimmage, and then right next to them on the line of scrimmage, like literally a yard away from them on the line of scrimmage, was both wide receivers. Kyren Lacy ran an in route, and he had to dive again, ball behind him, low, to make the catch, and he did. Then the very next play was one that I think that I will be talking about a lot if he continues to do this, was Kyren Lacy running another hitch on the far left boundary, going up into double coverage and mossing P.J. Woodland and Jordan Gilbert, coming down with the catch, breaking both of their tackles and running for 35+ for a touchdown. For me, there's nobody who has stood out like that. And by the way, anytime Nuss is flustered, he's going to number 2. He is going to find Kyren. On the hitch route into double coverage that Kyren scored on, got to give a lot of credit to old Braden Swinson getting a pressure on him off of Emory Jones and getting right into the face of Garrett Nussmeier. Legitimately, Garrett said, F it, number 2 down there somewhere, and sure as hell he was. Goes up 2 hands, makes the catch, comes down in double coverage, breaks both tackles, and goes to the hizzy. Actually, Jacoby and Guillory on the very play before that gets a little bit of pressure inside the pocket. And Nuss, who could not have seen where Kyren was because he's got literally Jacoby and Guillory and Miles Frazier in his face, just throws it at will to Kyren for a first down. I really, really hope that what we have seen, so we've had 2 full Saturdays of practice, multiple times inside of that as well, along with a bunch of 7-on-7s and other drills as well. I have not seen Kyren Lacy have a drop. I have not seen Kyren Lacy get out physicaled or a DB all over him. His route running has improved. He, by far, has been the most impressive human being on that field, and it's not even a question. Can that translate now? I mean, look, you're in your last week of spring. Can that translate through the summer? Can that translate into the season? You got a long way to the season, and we'll have a conversation again about him because we'll do the same exact thing. And this is just like a preseason of the conversations that you and I will have in reference to what we'll see in August from this team when we're out there for fall camp. The drops have been the biggest thing for me. Guys, maybe I have missed it, and that's very easily that I have. But I think you can ask me, you can ask anybody a part of the media corps that even if you trust more than me, hey, how many times have you seen Kyron Lacy dropping passes when it mattered? Oh, you haven't. Okay, sounds good. The kids, I think the kid's going to be special. Number two, I asked Brian Kelly about the radio and the helmets on Saturday, and I try to phrase it in a way if he would bring up anything philosophically. And the reason that I asked about the radio and the helmets and his philosophy was this. And in case you didn't see it, go listen to the press conference on LSU's YouTube channel. They're going under center a lot, and now it's become a staple of their offense. What are they doing? Guys, they're going 12 personnel. They're going 4 wide under center. Anything and everything that you can think that they would do in a pro-style under center offense, they are doing. They are running inside zone. They are running outside zone. I mean, I counted 9 bootlegs, 9 outside zone, play action, very San Francisco 49er-esque, very Matt LaFleur-esque, who Brian Kelly brought up in that answer. When they go a quick huddle on first down and they do an outside zone, back-to-back plays from Caleb Jackson, and he gets a first down, the very, very next play, they're going boot action. And it has not been covered once. I have not seen once when they have gone into a boot coverage or a boot play that it's been stopped by this defense. I think 2 things are a part of that. I think that this defense, personnel-wise, has had some issues at times. I think the big thing is these players have never seen this pro-style type of stuff, and it has excelled because Mason Taylor's gotten one. C.J. Daniels got a couple comeback and hitch routes that he had run on those boots. It has legitimately been a philosophy change. Now, let me back up because you hear that and you say to yourself, oh, shit, Brian Kelly, Notre Dame's here. Not even remotely close. I'm talking about 7, 8, 9 plays in one team scrimmage period of the 45 that they ran when we were out there. They were in shotgun a lot. They ran a lot of football out of shotgun a lot. They did play action. They ran hitch routes. They ran quick sticks. A lot of air raid principles. Getting the ball out quick, getting playmakers the ball. Xavier Thomas had an absolutely ridiculous catch on a stick route where he goes up with his left hand, comes down with it, breaks a tackle, gets another 7 yards, and it's an automatic first down. They have looked at times sharp. Now, let me say this. I was really happy and really surprised by what I saw from this defense on Saturday. Did they get beat at times? 1,000%. Did they get beat majority of the time? Yeah, they did. 100%. But man, that D-line, let me not say the D-line. The edge guys, what's up though? Brayton Swinson got a sack on Will Campbell. Parashan got a sack off of Borderline on the second team. You had 3 pressures to start a drive off. Jacoby and Guillory calls one of them. Got to admit, they were kind of getting after it a little bit. And Nuss has struggled when he's gotten into the red zone this spring. Let me address that. So of the philosophy stuff that we saw and that I do think is going to change and that you better be ready for, I like it. And I think they've had a lot of success with 28, that being Caleb Jackson, and he's been a physical freak. The kid, barring some, just like lapse in judgments because of inexperience, the kid physically is insanely gifted. Insanely gifted. Let me address this about some of the philosophy stuff because I think it should fall into this category. I think that the category of Nuss having struggles in the red zone comes from two things. They are doing things that they have not run yet. What do I mean? I different formation, different style, different guy. I just think that Nuss and this entire offense is getting used to some red zone, and that is the hardest place and the hardest times to be able to convert. I don't really have a worry about them in the red zone yet. But I got to give the defense a lot of credit. Guys, you had 5 times on Saturday when Nuss and this offense got in the red zone, didn't score a touchdown once. So I do think that that is something that we need to note. All right. Who are some guys that stand out? Number 3, I think Deshaun McBride continues to stand out with me. And then P.J. Woodland. There were multiple times in the scrimmage part 1 and part 2, that P.J. Woodland had, in both of those, he had at least one pass breakup on Kyron Lacey, believe it or not, on both of those. But I do believe that Deshaun McBride, Jordan Gilbert, Jair Brown have done some good things. And I got to admit, guys, I don't know if I necessarily agree with Brian Kelly, but this is back-to-back on Major Burns. This is back-to-back times where I have legitimately seen Major Burns be in that star position and make plays. Guys, they're not playing two-hand touch. Tackling tight ends in the flat, tackling running backs in the flat, blitzing, protecting the middle of the field and causing chaos. Be real with you. I know Brian Kelly said he's made the biggest leap for him. I'm not 1,000% sure he's not wrong. Now, he's obviously coaching and there every day. I am not. I don't know if he's wrong. They have made plays. Guys, there's been times. So on Saturday, there were multiple outside zones, and this defense would stop it. The edge and the philosophy of the safeties and corners blitzing, they have had a lot of success on outside zone runs. Here's the flip of another thing that stood out to me in number 3. That interior of that offensive line is clapping cheeks. It's not even debatable. I know that there has been some that have said that they think that there's been an issue. I got to be real with you. I don't know that yet because I've seen that interior of that offensive line get serious push. In the first team drive, you had Josh Williams run an inside zone and not get touched until he was 7 yards down the field. Twice. And you don't want me to start getting about Caleb Jackson. So what stood out in this part 3 here, I think the interior of this offensive line has looked pretty good against this D-line. Now, how will they translate and get better from last year? We'll have to wait and see. Number 4, and I guess I could put number 5 in here as well before Carter Bryant joins us. I really like the vibe defensively with this coaching staff. I don't know if it's going to translate into them being a better overall defense, even though I think that they will, just based off of just philosophy and personnel and DC. I got to be real with you. I don't think Harold Perkins has been coached like this yet. And there were multiple times that Perk would mess up, and Blake Baker was right there with him. Literally would run on the field, correct him, and even during the practice, guys, Perk got better. Perk got better against a very talented offensive line. Very, very talented offensive line. They moved him around. There were times he came off the edge. There were a couple times that he blitzed in the interior. What they're doing and the things that they're calling is giving this defense more energy and more pride. Let me give an example. You heard earlier I talked about Braden Swenson's sack. Perk came up the middle in the blitz, and there was it looked like a stunt in a lot of ways because Perk was on the outside. He came inside, and then Swenson was able to beat Will Campbell on the outside for what would have been a sack. They used Perk as a decoy in a blitzing scheme so that Braden Swenson could get a sack. When have you ever seen LSU last year do twists, stunts, this from a basic principle, out scheme? It's what happened a couple times on Saturday. I like that you have a new, how do I just want to say it? I'm going to use the one word that I hate using. I think you have a new culture. And I think it's already shown. And I think it's prevailed for you. Number 5, we have a very big issue, if you have not noticed, in the interior of the defensive line. Reason I put it at 5 is mainly due to the fact I talked about this ad nauseum, and you don't need to hear from me again on it. Guys, they're getting absolutely abused. I know that Brian Kelly said that Jacoby and Guillory has done great. Up for debate with me. But he also said in that comment, we got to go get another, and he ain't lying. Guys, Kimo Makanole, the offensive line conversion, is running with the first team right now. It's not good. It's not been good, guys. They've been getting patty smacked. Do you understand what I'm telling you? This keeps me up at night. I 1,000%. So I'm not going to continue to bore you, but the average yard per carry, and I did the math on this based off of what I saw. The average yard per carry on Saturday in inside zone was 9.7 yards. It's not good enough. All right. Carter the Power Bryant joining us. Let's see. No super chats, guys. Okay, no super chats. All right. Sounds good. It is 7:33. It's time. Let's go talk to him. Get to a quick break. Carter Bryant joins us next. We talk a little bit more football. I'm going to talk baseball after he leaves, and then if we have time, I'll give you my pick. I already kind of gave you my pick that it'd be in UConn tonight, but regardless. All right, let's get to it. Stay with us.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Carter, the Power Bryant, joins us every single Monday. Jared, again, my man, thank you so much for that super sticker. Good evening, good sir.
Oh, what's up, Blake? I am very satisfied with how everything went down this weekend in women's basketball. I really enjoyed watching the sport grow. I'm even more excited that my favorite team is a part of its growth as well. So that was great, and I'm getting excited about the national championship game tonight.
Did you see this debate I had? I mean, like if Caitlin Clark would have been anybody else, and anybody else would have had that stat line, they would have killed her.
And they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. I disagree. Look, what she did.
If LeBron James goes to a final with that stat line, people will kill him.
Okay, she went for 38 and 5. What's wrong with that?
30 and 5. But you better score 30 points if you shoot 28 times.
Oh no. 30 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds.
You better got 30 points if you shooting 28 times.
Okay. She was fantastic in that championship game. She was.
No, right? She wasn't.
Because
she had 3 massive turnovers to give South Carolina the lead back.
Yeah, they had no legs. They were playing a deeper team in a game where they had to turn around in a 48-hour period where they went to bed at 3 a.m. They got drug tested after the game versus UConn. Okay. And every single South Carolina player played under 30 minutes in the Friday night game. Every single one of Iowa's players played 38 plus minutes. Blake, I am not a huge college basketball bettor. I'm not. I put a whale on South Carolina pulling away in the second half. And this was very much expected. This was a rematch of what LSU did to Iowa. LSU, far deeper team than Iowa. And Jasmine Carson was the one that ran him out of the building. It was the South Carolina bench that ran Iowa out of the building. They're not deep enough to keep up with them. I thought Caitlin played fine. Should she have played better in the second half? Yes, but guess what? Don Staley is one of the best coaches of all time. She switched up the defensive matchups versus Caitlin Clark. So look, I've been known as a Caitlin defender this whole weekend, and I will continue that because she carried a team that has had no draft picks in the first round since 2015, no second round picks since 2020. And what she did carrying that team to back-to-back national championship games, I understand that everyone's talking about the GOAT and she didn't win the title or anything like that. Like that is as impressive as anybody winning a title, taking an Iowa team with a non-Hall of Fame coach and a non-Hall of Fame roster to back-to-back national championship games. And by the way,
okay, go ahead.
And by the way, who did she beat in the Sweet 16? Oh, one of the best coaches to ever coach basketball in Kim Mulkey.
Oh yeah, she's 1-1 against him, but she choked in that second half.
Yeah. Okay, that's who she beat in the Elite Eight. Excuse me. And who does she beat in the Final Four? The only coach that for sure clears Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, I'm talking about one singular game.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not talking about them. I'm saying she choked in the second half. She had 6 points.
She had no gas.
I don't give two Rudy Poo. You better get an EV and call Elon Musk. I mean, I don't know what you want me to expect. You have 6 points and here's another thing. They would have killed Angel if that would have happened to her. Just throwing it out.
Absolutely.
So if you're going to measure people the same, you better measure people the same now.
Yeah, and guess what? I would defend Angel Reese the same way if she was on the same tear that Caitlin Clark was on. But
don't talk about my Bayou Barbie like that, man. I get upset.
I'm going to defend Angel all the way until the end of time, and I'm already asking ESPN to reach out to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to do what they did with Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. Because those two were driving me insane over the weekend with some of the shots they took.
I didn't see one piece of content from them. They
went in on Angel.
I did hear that. I'm not spending my time on two. I'm not concerned.
I like them. But look, if you're going to do it, good. Animosity is good. Diana Taurasi's always been that way.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that,
good luck.
Clark and Angel Reese have a booth, and they will outrate any UConn booth ever. So I would love to see it next year. But I'm really excited about the future. Really excited about what Kim's doing on the recruiting trail, and we'll see if we can get back on that level next year.
She's still choked. Anywho, you are a native Arcan. So before we get to football very quickly, John Calipari.
Yeah. Well, I'm a native Louisianian that has spent a good bit of time in
I missed that wrong then.
But no, it's all good, man. Look, Blake,
I meant like you native, like you're there now.
I will tell you this about John Calipari. All right.
Let's get to the Cal talk. Arkansas in the house.
Yes. So here's one thing he recognizes: how important it is to be the biggest show in town. Kentucky really doesn't have any big professional sport teams. Louisville hadn't been the same since Rick left. So Kentucky was the show, right? I mean, they don't really have a football program or whatever. And what does he do? He goes to the only other SEC basketball program where they are the show. Arkansas basketball is the show. Arkansas fans have come to grips that their football program is what it is. And if Cal can win a national championship at Arkansas, Blake, they're waiting for Dave Van Horn to finally get the job done. And if he doesn't this year, it's probably never going to happen. But look, Cal understands if he wins a national championship in basketball at Arkansas, they will build the statue immediately, right? Because obviously, for people that don't know Arkansas sports, they have not won a national championship in anything relevant since 1994. And Blake,
which was basketball. Didn't they win?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It was Nolan Richardson beating Coach K.
Bill Clinton in the house too.
Yes. So here's the thing. Think of all the other SEC programs, right, that are kind of like Arkansas level. Mississippi State, they won a baseball title. Ole Miss, they won a baseball title. Vanderbilt's won a couple of baseball titles. South Carolina's got women's basketball, Ray Tanner in baseball. Arkansas has not won a natty in anything that people care about since 94. So Cal recognizes that. He had some big money friends up there in the Northwest Arkansas region. And I think it's a win-win for both parties.
I do too, because I think he's better than Musselman. So they've gotten a better coach. The problem is, I think you would know them better than I would. They're going to get to the round of 32 every year, okay, because he's going to recruit at a high level there. I just don't know if Calipari can get over the hump there. There's got to be a question. If you can't do it at Kentucky, then where in the hell can you do it?
Oh no, his tournament coaching is bad. He needs to become more modern. His defensive alignments. Kentucky was the worst team defensively in the entire NCAA tournament heading into it. Right, Kentucky and Alabama were both bad defensive teams. It's just Nate Oates; they could shoot the three, and they actually they got better defensively as the season moved on. Kentucky's defense is really bad. They've got to get better there. But Blake, Arkansas is a basketball state. They produce a lot of big time basketball talent. They got a few in the NBA right now. And it's not like football where there's just hardly any good football players that come from the state of Arkansas outside of the one that's Carius Kern. But wink, right. Wink, nod, nod. But the truth here is I think Cal's going to do well, and I think there is a little bit of people overvaluing his NCAA tournament troubles. It's a random tournament. Now, has he been the worst NCAA tournament coach? Yes, he has been a bad choker, but I think he will positively regress and get Arkansas to an Elite Eight at least in the next 4 or 5 years.
I can see that. I think that that's very fair. And if that's your expectation of him, I think it's very fair.
But the truth is, Blake, Dave Van Horn has got to win it. That's it. That's
Dave Van Horn, their head baseball coach. Look, they could win it this year. I mean, they could win it this year.
Do you think they're the best team? I don't know a whole lot about their team.
Right now, them or Clemson.
Clemson's good in baseball now?
Yeah.
God.
All that NIL money went to baseball. They said, Dabo, screw you, baby. We baseball fans now.
I would have never guessed Clemson. Florida State, yes.
Clemson's number 2.
That is crazy. So
beat Florida State. I think might have swept them.
So they're good in basketball now. They're making an Elite 8. And now I can't. I don't know if I can handle it. I really
can Dabo. Neither can Dabo. All right, let's get to some LSU football here. Carter, we continue to talk about him, but I got to lead this off with you here. I mean, just another day, another week where Kyron Lacey is going completely off in a practice. What do you – I know that I asked you last week, and you said that you thought he'd be a first-round pick. What are we really supposed to realistically make of this when he's going up into double coverage, coming down with it, breaking 2 tackles, and go for a score in spring football? Like, what do you make of that?
Yeah, for clarification, I said he could be a first-round pick, but what I told you last week is someone that does the film studies better than I, who's neutral to LSU, has him as a first-round pick right now, according to his grades.
Sorry for not adding that context.
Well, that even more furthers your point that Kyron is someone that's really starting to for people to take notice as far as his future NFL chances. Obviously, LSU every year produces a first-round talent at wide receiver. So I think that continues with Kyron. I do believe the hype. If you really look at some of his special plays from last year as a blocker and as a receiver after the catch and as a route runner, I mean, he's a complete package. Now, obviously, we're always worried about the drops. Everybody's always going to be worried about the drops of Kyron Lacey. They're like that about Brandon LaFell. So I think Kyron's going to be special. I see a 70-catch, 1,000-yard season. Might not be 1,000 yards. That's a lot. But 800, 900-yard season, I could definitely see it.
I asked Brian Kelly about the radios and the helmets, trying to fish out a deeper answer from him that he did not bite on. I asked him about the radios and the helmets on Saturday.
Okay.
Because they're going quick huddle, and they're going under center. And I got to be honest with you, when they do, I don't think Nuss is as good as Nuss is not good there. I think he gets flustered too easy when he's got to do 5 and 7 step drop backs. And I think that there were multiple times where if he wasn't outside the pocket and couldn't see over the line, he did not make good throws. And I think that happened multiple times. But he got bailed out by C.J. Daniels and Kyron Lacey a couple times. I guess 2 questions to you here. Number one, what am I supposed to make of Nuss, having throws where Kyron had to bail him out, okay, in a scrimmage, versus in spring, I might add, versus just a philosophy change that he's got to get used to some extent.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Blake. If I was a play caller, and I know I do a lot of film studies, but I'm not a coach. I'm not. But if I was a play caller, one thing I would do
is go under center.
Go under center a lot more. It makes life so much easier for your offense. The bad part
and
about
the quick
that,
huddle.
Yeah, and look, the bad part about that is LSU just doesn't have a whole lot of experience with that. I mean, they were mostly a shotgun team, but if Brian Kelly wants to get the run game going under center really helps out with that. It just does. From a timing standpoint, from keeping the defense guessing standpoint, there's so many other things you can do out of play action. The hard part about that, though, Blake, is there are going to be times when you do play action where your back is to the play, right? And it's a completely different processing situation when you had to turn your back to the defense off the play action fake.
Can I make a quicker read?
Yeah, and then also, like you said, a 5-7 step drop for a shorter quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier is not, Kyler Murray, but he's not obviously Jaden Daniels or Burrow back there. it could be tricky, doing 6, 7-step drops. It does help, though, if they're going to do more of that his dad is a professional offensive coordinator, well, not coordinator, but quarterback coach. So Garrett should be able to do some under center stuff, but that does concern me, considering, Blake, LSU has mostly been a shotgun team.
I don't know if I'm necessarily concerned or observant.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, he made the right read, but even then he didn't. I mean, Carter, in the best play of the day, he threw into double coverage. If Kyron doesn't go up the ladder and break 2 tackles, that play, I mean, honestly, if Kyron doesn't jump and make that catch, it's picked off because P.J. Woodland legitimately is behind Kyron Lacey and jumping and thinking he's about to catch it. But Kyron comes down with it, and then he breaks 2 tackles. It is what it is. Then he's going under center again. He's trying to go across the middle, and Kyron Lacey's got to dive for another catch. And by the way, I really think that this entire spring he has said, fuck it, Kyron's down there somewhere. I legitimately, and I'm not joking. Like, Carter, of 4 passing plays, he went to a check down because he didn't have the fade to Chris Hilton. And then basically he said, I'm done with this. I'm going to Kyron Lacey, even if it was a wrong read. So that was all under center. I thought it was moderately pretty good in the gun. Like I think he went 8 of 11 is what I calculated, okay, in the second team period. So not bad. But he also has not thrown it in the 2 Saturdays I've been there, has not thrown a touchdown in the red zone. Not one.
Yeah, look, I do like that Garrett Nussmeier isn't afraid to make mistakes in practice. That's where you want.
And he will let it rip, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, he is not. And I think that, and here's you bring up a great point. All right, let me clarify. It's not that he can't make the play, because I think with experience, he's going to make that play. I legitimately think that he's just like, watch this shit. I got a crowd around me. Watch this shit. I'm about to throw the shit out this motherfucker. And he makes a bad read, and that has been his problem. I really think he's going to have a good season. I'm just saying, like, look, if we're going down a fine-tooth comb here, okay, he's just not. He's got to take a step back and just make the play. Don't worry about anything else. Make the right play.
Yeah, and I think one thing, Blake, that should be interesting. This is how I feel, hearing your practice reports and just hearing things as far as the LSU wide receiver room is concerned. Yeah, this room is really deep right now. But the way I see it is I do have Kyron on a different tier than everybody else.
No doubt.
And that's nothing against Chris or CJ or any of those guys. I do think one small thing is very important. I think Brian Thomas Jr.'s breakout, because we felt the same way last year. Malik was on a different tier than everyone else. It's just Brian Thomas Jr. dominated a lot of practices. It just didn't necessarily translate to the field.
And
right?
when you're dominating every Saturday at a practice, Carter, it's not very likely that that you don't translate that to fall.
Right. So I was very, very bullish on Brian Thomas Jr.
I remember.
Going into
we had the debate on this show. I remember.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah. And part of it was just practice reports. He had been dominating practices, for a while. And there's times where Chris Hilton dominates practice and all of that. It's just there's a lot of data that was pointing towards BTJ having a pretty big season. I just don't know if there is a number 2 receiver right now for LSU that is on BTJ's level, if that makes sense.
I agree.
I think I think Chris has a good shot. I'm still high on Xavier Thomas and those guys. So I do think there are times where Garrett's like, okay, Kyron's that guy. I know Kyron is going to go up there and make a play. The next thing I would bring up is, as far as these practices are concerned, you've brought this up plenty of times, is the defense normally picks up on what's happening. So that's part of it as well. I'm with you, Blake. I'm not too concerned about Garrett Nussmeier, and I kind of like the fact that he's taking those chances.
Let's shift to defense.
Ooh.
Or let me ask you like this. Was there anything Brian Kelly said in that press conference that piqued your interest?
Not really. I mean, I saw your clip of the helmets and all of that. Obviously, not a whole lot. I think BK is just ready for the spring game, so he can get ready for what's going to be, an absolutely wild next couple of weeks.
Okay,
And,
let
and
me ask you it differently then. Are
okay, go
you
ahead.
surprised by his comments about Major Burns? Because I got to be a little real with you. I agree. I don't necessarily agree with him about the coverage part of it. Carter, I man, I mean, my dog's coming to the line of scrimmage and making shit happen now. I mean, there were 3 outside zone runs where I'm talking about Caleb Jackson's coming downhill, and he said, "Watch this shit." And I'm like, "Oh God, damn!" Sound like a damn thunder. It sounded like thunder when they hit. I'm serious, and I'm like, "Bro, that's 3 times that he's made this play."
Okay.
Carter, I don't know if this safety room isn't. I'm very bullish on this safety room right now. I got to tell you.
Oh man, Imagine Dragons believer level. That's how big of a believer you're turning into.
Who's Imagine Dragons? And then,
Don't they do the song make me a believer? You know what song I'm talking about?
oh yeah.
It was just
I'm a believer of him in that star position. If he's in the flat, the middle of the field, 1 to 10 yards, or he's blitzing and making a play. If you put him in the middle third and you're asking him to cover, he ain't gonna do that. It's not a skill set. And there were times where he didn't make the play but disrupted Caleb Jackson, where he had to bust it back up inside on an outside run. That it's like, look, he's not gonna make the play on paper, but he made the play.
yeah. So this is how I view Major Burns, right? I think in space it's an issue, right? If he's on any type of island situation, whether it's coverage or having to make a big open field tackle. Now, in a crowded space, a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, sure. And maybe he is morphing into 2019 level Jacoby Stevens, where he's not some spectacular playmaker, but he's a really good player if his strengths are there, right?
With
Jacoby
definitely
Stevens,
a lot more athleticism.
right. And Stevens was 3-time SEC Player of the Week,
Right.
that season.
Dude, that needs to be state pick when Burrow had his pants pulled down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
That one-hander, dude. You remember that?
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. So maybe you get that. I am still a little concerned about him in that role because of the space and all of that, but I hope it works out. I really, really do. It would be good for someone who is returning to take that next step in that role, because you want your experienced playmakers to be that guy. But we'll see. There's some young guys obviously making a lot of noise right now, and I'm very much on the Deshaun McBride train, as are you. So we'll see how all of that shakes out.
Deshaun McBride had a rip on Emory Jones that if Nussmeier doesn't just say, fuck it, Kyron's down there in another split second, if like we were hitting, Deshaun Womack is going to obliterate Garrett Nussmeier. So that leads me to my second point. Dude, this edge team, the edge rush guys, by the way, both ends are standing up. Okay. Braden Swinson and either Savion Jones, who has been standing up, or it has been Deshaun Womack. Carter, as bad as they've been in the interior, they sure have not been completely bad on the edge. Not in team drills. They are getting after it a little bit now. So, for example, first play of scrimmage, Braden Swinson had a sack. Second play was the Deshaun Womack thing. Carter, I think they're just going to be overall better. I really do. I think the problem that they have is in the middle of their defense, which is where most of everything happens, right? And so you got to be careful with that. Carter, they've made a lot of plays on defense, man, and I can't ignore it anymore. I'm like, maybe they know it, maybe they don't. But Carter, even if they do know it, they're still bringing down Caleb Jackson. Yeah. They're still bringing him down in space. So there's got to be something. What do you make of the edge guys getting a couple sacks here on Saturday? And what do you make just like, man, are they just going to be overall better because of play calling?
Yeah, I think Coach Peoples is a big part of that. You know, he comes in with a lot of fanfare. This guy who's been at a lot of different spots, Arkansas way back in yesteryear, and obviously most recently with Missouri. I like Coach Peoples a lot. He grades out pretty well in my buddy Dave Bartu's assistant coach metrics. So I like Coach Peoples. I like
he's really high on him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I will tell you this, right? If Deshaun Womack is able to put it together, should be a pretty big time player. And Braden Swinson and Swinson, yeah,
he hit Will Campbell on a dip and rip, left-handed dip and rip. I thought Will Campbell broke his ankle. Not really, but I mean,
that's good. That's good. I mean, look,
yeah, I'm talking about like. So, did you see the People's video today about I would have hit your middle?
No, I watched the first part about it. I didn't finish it.
Seconds. It was in that first 10 seconds. That drill that they were working in the first 10 seconds was 1,000% replicated by both defensive ends or both outside linebackers. 100% the dip and rip. And
you're talking about? So you're talking about the video where they showed him
literally the video that they showed literally when we got out there that morning. That's what they were working on was pass rush, getting to the passer. And literally both guys standing up on the edge made the play on what they taught. It was taught at 9 a.m. It was executed at 12 p.m.
There you go. Putting those traits out onto the field. That's what you want to see, man.
They're going to be overall better, buddy. I'm telling you. You know how I felt about the offense last year, and me and you had all these conversations that I thought they'd be the number one team in the SEC, like offensively. Carter, I think they might. I think if they're able to establish some stuff in the middle and that interior defensive line, it's a big if. They're going to be a top 5 SEC defense. I'm bullish on that. It's going to happen.
Top 5.
Top 5.
You
want to know why? You want to know why? Because of play calling.
No, I
don't know. I'm so conflicted, Carter. I think I was wrong about personnel to some extent.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm loving that. There you go. I'm probably a little bit more skeptical than you, but I'm down. Let's go.
I'm willing to die on that sword. Problem with that makes my hot take very bad is Carter. Look, man, the interior of the defensive line sucks. I mean, it's not that it sucks. I think Jacoby and Guillory has been serviceable, buddy. They got Chemo Macanole in there.
No, that's a big problem.
It's a massive problem. And
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No. I mean, we had this discussion last night on my channel. You don't find many national championship teams that aren't like really, really elite at defensive tackle.
Well, and did you see Josh Pate's tweet?
Yeah, and I mean, out of everything that happened this weekend, that did concern me the most. Now that he's pretty plugged in at all the different programs, but the fact that there are that many programs out there that are desperate for 3 techs and 1 techs, that makes me nervous, right? And
you should be nervous.
I mean, that means that if you have a half decent swim move, or if you weigh 315 and above, you're about to get paid.
Especially in the Bayou, you're going to get paid at Ohio State, and you're going to get paid in Alabama.
Yeah,
you know who he's really talking about. He's talking about Bama.
Yeah, and I've heard some things about Oregon and a bunch of schools looking to beef up that room. So, yeah, that does concern me because LSU, I do think it's code red there. I was a little bit more optimistic, but after seeing a few things and hearing a few things, especially from you, Blake, I mean, you're a trench guy. That's what you care the most about more than anything.
They're getting obliterated.
And
if you want my opinion, they're getting obliterated.
Yeah, and more so just doing a little bit more digging. I'm like, okay, is what I'm seeing just am I hyperbolizing how bad it was?
Well, I mean, Carter, I talked about it on my show. Sean Washington is somebody that's got to play.
Yeah. And
you have a walk-on freshman and Borderline, who, by the way, has not looked great at right tackle. They need to move him back to left or move him in the interior. Carter, I got to be real with you. He can't get pancaked by those two dudes. It cannot happen because here's the thing. Those two guys are the least talent that he will see when it comes playtime.
Yeah, and I am very, very, very concerned about the LSU defensive tackle room. And I try not to be like too anecdotal about that, but
no, it's red panic.
Yeah, like when you really think about it, it's just like, man, Michigan's defensive tackle room was elite. All those Georgia teams, elite defensive tackle rooms. All those Alabama teams, elite defensive tackle rooms. All the LSU teams. There was not a championship LSU team that was not elite NFL draft picks at defensive tackle. And it concerns me. It really, really does. I play defensive tackle. It's my favorite position in any sport. And yeah, I try not to, because, if you play the position, even though I didn't play it at a high level, you always look at it more critically, right? You look at interior alignment a lot more critically than I would or anyone else, because you played it. Every like little nuance about it. And I'm just like, ooh, man, it's tough. It is something you should be concerned about. And hopefully there are some remedies. And hopefully Dominic McKinley, comes in and he's Travon Walker. But we'll see.
How did you just get that thumb bubble on your head?
Dude, okay, so Jared, who just super chatted, he's one of my really good friends. I don't know. It just pops up randomly on mine. It doesn't pop up randomly because I don't know. I didn't even do a thumbs up. Look, I'm trying to see if this is. I have no idea. I'm glad you saw it, because sometimes I think I'm just seeing stuff.
I thought I'd already smoked weed that I hadn't smoked yet or something. Last thing for you: who wins tonight, UConn or Purdue?
Yeah, so I rolled with UConn minus 6.5. But I'll be honest, there's not many positions I was ever stronger on than South Carolina covering the 6.5.
You're about to say it about UConn, aren't you?
Yeah, I am not comfortable with that. I think Purdue is really good. I've taken a lot of UConn's and obviously they just crush against the spread, even against an Alabama team that was able to play with them. So I just rolled with UConn. I really don't have any like strong position like I had on South Carolina. And I'm almost to the point now, Blake, where I feel like I could actually do something in women's college basketball betting next year. So I might try to go in on that, because and this is Bet Online would probably tell you this.
Look below your name, betonline.ag.
Yeah. So the bigger the sport, the sharper the market is going to be, right? And women's college basketball wasn't always offered in sports books, so it's still like a brand new kind of thing, and it's still like getting used to being like handicapped and all that stuff. I'm gonna try to see if I can if I can get like a 55 to 60% win rate on it. But men's college basketball, as you know, Blake, is probably the second hardest behind the NFL when it comes to winning long term.
Do you know Dove Kleeman?
Oh, I hate that guy.
I do too. He says breaking college football 25 is expected to come out on July the 19th.
I would not believe a word he said. And he's also one of the shitty dudes that did the Malik Neighbors thing over the weekend. He was the one that spread
misinformation.
Yeah, if you have diehard info, I'm never just going to blindly, fully, defend any LSU player. But I if you're an aggregator, you always got to be a little bit more careful when you do that. And obviously that spread like wildfire. And I hated it for Malik Neighbors. But he might fall to the Saints now. Kidding.
He's not falling to the Saints. All right, Carter Bryant, let's go watch this game, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Cheers.
That's Carter, the Power Bryant, joining us like he does each and every Monday. I don't have a lot of time to talk about this LSU baseball team. We will be live tomorrow for the post game. Here's what I will say. I am worried about LSU baseball more than I have been, and I'm just talking about the season. Let me start off by saying this. I think Jay Johnson is going to get it corrected. I think he's going to get things fixed. It might not be this year. It might be a very bad and down year. But I have tons of faith that Jay will get it turned around, maybe even this year, maybe next. Who knows? I don't like the direction in reference to how the season is going. You're going into Knoxville this weekend. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun because every time that you're up and you have to take a game over to win a series in the SEC, the moment has been too big for you. I know a lot of you have hit the panic button, and I got to be real with you here. If that is the thing that we're talking about, I am hovering it because what we saw the last 2 days from LSU baseball, our last 2 games, I should say, it has not been good. Maybe the curse is real. I don't know. But it's so crazy to me that you can be this close in winning a series against very talented teams, and yet at times you're unable to do it. I'm not hitting a panic button yet. I said I would think – I told you on Wednesday of last week that I'd think about it if they lost the series. I just can't do it. I can't do it yet. You got a lot more baseball to be played, a lot more things that can happen. But I got to get real. I got to be real with you. If they don't start correcting things now, it is going to – we are in for some very, very long or just a very long season, and I don't know if they will be able to turn around. Maybe you do win your first series. Maybe you are able to beat Mizzou. Maybe you do beat Ole Miss. Maybe you luck up and surprise an A&M. But that's a lot of ifs. And right now this team, quite honestly, outside of Friday night, legitimately gives me no hope. And Friday nights on the road don't give me any hope because you haven't won one yet. And I know that you're only through 4 series. I fully get and understand that. But bottom line for me, if you don't turn it around this weekend, you got to hit the panic button. Even if I don't want to, you're going to have to. Because then you will be 4-11 in conference. And you're staring really and truthfully, I don't know if you can get to sub 500. Not only that, I fully don't believe that completely that you can get to 13-17. Here's the truth. If you want to make a regional, you got to win 10 more games in the SEC. Paul got in on 13-17. You want to be 14-17 in conference. I don't know if you can do that right now. I legitimately don't know if you can. With all of that being said, I can't do it. You've been in so many close games against so many good teams. Here is to hoping that they turn it around. I pray to God that they turn it around, and we'll be live for a postgame. I'm not giving up on this team. I'm never giving up on LSU baseball, period. It's just going to be really rough. All right, let's go watch this national title game. We will see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.